What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and just like the travel video, this one was gonna have some actual footage of the event itself, but just like the travel one, I signed forms and can therefore therefore was like not able to take footage of the event. But if you watched that video, or perhaps even better if you haven't watched that video, recently I went down to Sydney because a friend of mine, the same friend that I went to Comic-Con and Mardi Gras with, they are studying at the Australian Film, Television and Radio School in Sydney, and the project that they were working on, one of the crew members, for a very legitimate reason, at sort of like the last minute, was unable to sort of participate in the role that they were sort of intended to fulfill. And so I was asked, because my friend knows that I myself have qualifications in film, asked if I would very kindly fill that role, despite the fact that I myself do not go to the Australian Film, Television and Radio School yet, and that will be part of this video. So in this video, I'm going to go into a little bit more depth. I still can't give names, and I'm certainly not going to give specific locations, but I will sort of go in a little bit more detail to what the film shoot specifically was. So it was for a documentary. I believe I stated that in the travel video. It was a documentary. It was for an AFTRS assignment. It's now assuming that it's always at this same time in the within the course, it is the year 2 semester 1 assignment, and they were doing a documentary. I already have an idea for what I'm going to do for mine. I might keep that to myself though. I don't know. I'm undecided yet. I might give some spoilers. But yeah, I do sort of already have an idea for what I'm going to do when I get up to that myself, and that obviously comes into the exciting news that I have at the end of this video. Exciting if you're me, basically, as well as for content production. It's gonna have an impact on that as well. But yeah, so it was a documentary, and we were interviewing someone from a local, I believe the person we were interviewing said that they were blues, but they're a local band, and when my friend asked if I'd heard who they were, I was kind of like, the name's familiar but nothing's coming to mind. And then after interviewing them, I checked my Spotify, and sure enough, I had songs on my Spotify from this artist that I myself had listened to and was like, this is good enough to get a like. I'm saving this. I was already following them. So I got the whole, I met one of these people, like, fan moment after the fact, and I think that worked out well in my favor, because it meant that I was able to operate, I think, especially since I was like the outsider. I was the one that, everyone else really was like, even my own friend was like, I've only really heard about his experiences in film. So it was really my chance to be like, this is what I'm like on a film set. And when I'm in my element, I'm like, I'm here for business. Like I am. But at the same time, I thoroughly enjoy being on a film set. I think it's one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life, and I would love to do it as a career. So I'm very grateful to have had this opportunity. So anyway, our morning consisted of, actually that might be a better way to go about telling this particular part. So our morning consisted of, my friend and I woke up at, I want to say 6:30. We were out of his apartment by 7:15, so there was no dillying or dallying. And on our way, we went and got, I got a chai latte, he got a hot chocolate, I believe, because I was like, he doesn't drink coffee, and I was like, I'm gonna have an energy drink later today, so I'm not really phased on getting coffee this early. Like, I'd like to at least be on some level of just like, this is me on an average. So yeah. So we got that, and then because I was driving, we got lost in some of the side streets of Sydney. Why Sydney has so many side streets, I'll never know, but it does. And there's so many streets that are wide enough to be two-way, that are one-way, just 4 lanes wide. It's ridiculous, I don't understand it. It's Sydney. For those of you asking, no, I did not go into any of the corona hotspots. I will be going and getting myself tested regardless. Looking forward to having a Q-tip shoved halfway down my nose again, but we want to make sure, because my parents and my brother all work in education, and my sister's a vet nurse, so it's very important that none of them get COVID. As well as the fact that this Saturday coming, my nephew's coming for 2 weeks. I don't really want to be giving it to him first day he arrives, so we're going to go get tested. So that's going to be a tomorrow thing. But anyway, so we finally ended up arriving at AFTRS at 8:10. It didn't take us an hour to get there, did it? I don't think it took us an hour to get there. Maybe we left at 8:15. I can't remember. It was 1:45 or 1:15. I can't remember, but we did end up getting there at 8:10. When the trip itself was only supposed to take 20 minutes, I think I'd estimated about a half hour if we got coffees as well. And we also went into a actually I have a prop for this story. We also went into an IGA, and I found something that I have been dying to have for so long. I'm gonna get it. It's in this cupboard just here. I know exactly where it is. I have props. Look at this bad boy. He is gorgeous. I unfortunately can't get the 10 cents refund on it because it's it's very close. It's made in Great Britain, so it's not one that's gonna have the go and take this to a return and earn and get 10 cents back on it, but that's okay. I don't mind. I'm more than happy to just enjoy my Dr. Pepper. I'm saving that particular can for games night, which I'm hoping will eventuate soon, because I bought 2 cans. I allowed myself one when I got back, and I showed my brother. I was like, look, I found Dr. Pepper, because if you think the small ass town I live in at the moment has any, nope. It used to be sold at the reject shop. They don't have it anymore, and then I think I managed to find it one other time after that in like an IGA somewhere. It was in an IGA that I found this, but it was also an IGA in Sydney where there's 5 million people, so the chances of it being sold there much higher. The demand for it probably also much higher. So yes, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I don't care. I'm getting myself some cans. Very excited about that. Anyway, on with the story. So yeah, 10 past 8 at AFTRS, met up with my director, who we are going to be calling Ruby, and our cinematographer, who I'm gonna call Alicia. It's just, we'll go with those. And then of course my mate is Kyle. And he acts like such a Kyle sometimes too. It's hilarious. And obviously these could also all be completely fake names. You'll never know. So anyway, we sort of did our introductions, and by did our introductions was basically just me introducing myself to the group. I was tempted to wear this particular shirt to the thing, despite the fact that I wasn't directing it, but my friend was like, I hope our director finds the humor in that. I was like, oh, they sound like they're one of those. And then I get there, just wearing not this shirt, and myself and the director, I don't know if they felt this, but I hope they did, but we hit it off really well. I felt like we had a really good day, and I'm hopefully looking forward to being able to get to know them better, because I personally think we would be really good friends. So yeah, they're great. But you know, so we then got in the cars, drove up to the Central Coast, in that general region. And when I say the Central Coast, I really sort of mean the Central Coast. Whereas if I say like mid-north coast, that could be anywhere from Port Macquarie to Foster, sort of thing. And if you live in the region, you know that the drive between those two places is on the highway at 110 per hour. That's kilometers. It's like an hour and a half. Okay, so it's a distance. Central Coast is kind of like Sydney, but a little bit more relaxed, and definitely a lot less populated. But it's like Sydney in the sense of we were filming in one suburb in sort of the morning, and then when we broke for lunch, we drove through another suburb to get to the second suburb that we were going to be filming in. And the distance we drove was only about a 5-minute drive down the road within city limits, so it's 60 kilometers an hour. For those of you doing miles per hour, 60 kilometers is 40 miles? Why does that feel wrong? It's right, it's about 35, 40 miles per hour, but it feels wrong for some reason. But it's around about that. So yeah, crazy. Cities and their nearby places are crazy with just how packed places are. Suburbs are tiny little things. Anyway, not the point of this story. So when we got to our first location, we met the person who we were interviewing. We got set up. They had a lot of really cool stuff. One of the things that they were using, that the cinematographer was using to capture some of the interview, was actually a piece of equipment that one of their friends who lived in Canberra had offered to lend them, and they'd actually driven down to collect it like the night before, which dedication to the craft for one thing, but for two, it meant that they also, like me, had quite a lengthy drive just to film this particular shoot. Anyway, so while they were setting that up, I got the sound equipment set up because that was my job. Did like a sound test. So that as soon as the director called action, I was ready to record. Unless, you actually know how a film set goes, in which case, I'm recording before the director says action. Not the point. The interview then took us, I would like to say, actually I don't know how long it took us. It might have been an hour and a half sort of thing. Could even have been up to 2 hours. But yeah, there was a lot of setup involved. Pack-up was real quick because it always is. And then we went and had lunch, which was awesome. The director, even though they didn't have to, paid for everyone's lunch. And I'm there like not an hour ago, 2 hours ago, whatever. You told us it was your birthday. So like you should have been the last person to pay for lunch, but you did it anyway. So again, a massive thank you to them. They are so amazing. And not only did they pay for everyone's lunch, but they'd also brought this really delicious but very rich caramel slice. It was to die for. It was to die for. So they just, I really wish I would have known before going that we would be filming on their birthday, because I would have figured something out, to be able to just like show some appreciation for, the opportunity to be on the set for one, but for two, to also sort of, especially on like I'm meeting them on their birthday. They spent their birthday hanging out with me, someone who until that day they hadn't known. So so then after lunch, we'd ended up having lunch at the place we were going to be shooting anyway. So it worked out really well for us. We were able to just finish up lunch, go back to the cars, grab the equipment that we needed, which was less than we needed the first time around, and go and get the shots that we needed, get the sound that we needed. That all took us half an hour, 45 minutes, and then we were done. Get back in the car, head back to AFTRS. We met up there at about 5 o'clock, and then that was it. The exciting part of this story, for me personally, then comes in, because forget the fact that I'd just been part of my first official AFTRS film shoot. I was then able to talk to people who had a better idea than I what the applications and admissions process was. I ended up speaking to, I believe they said they were the student advisor, like the counsellor. So I spoke to them, sort of explained my situation, you know, living in rural New South Wales for the better part of the last 7-8 years. I wanted to come to this school and study at that school, because film is and probably always will be my first and greatest love. And it's gonna take one hell of a person to beat film as my greatest love. But yeah, so I was able to talk to them about that, sort of explain that, like, you know, the biggest hurdle for me isn't the stress that's going to come with studying, especially at such a prestigious school, because they are, you know, they're a specialist school. They're sort of at the same level as NIDA is, but instead of teaching acting and theatre, they teach directing and producing, whether that's film, television, or radios and podcasts. So I was really excited to be able to talk to them, get sort of a fairer idea. They gave me, you know, they told me that, well, you know, if you look, there are some, you know, there's these options for getting, you know, financial help, whether it be putting my course on a fee help plan, which I already knew about, or doing, you know, like trying to get a scholarship, applying for a scholarship, which I already was going to be doing anyway, because if I'm eligible for it, why not? It could help me make the move, which is really exciting. And then they also told me, you know, like, if you know where to look, there's some really cheap suburbs around. Gave me a list of things to look at, like flatmates.com. Not gonna lie, the anxiety does spike a little bit with the idea of going onto a site, finding some random on the internet and being like, I'm gonna live with you while I study at the school of my dreams in a city with 5 million people while I have social anxiety. That does raise the stress a little bit. It's, to say that goes out of my comfort zone would be the equivalent of me picking up my can of Dr. Pepper and just yeeting it out the window while it's still closed. If you get what I'm saying. It would shatter my comfort zone to do that. But it's an option, and if it saves me money in the long run, it's an option I'm gonna have to take. So yeah, and then my friend and I basically spent the rest of that afternoon sort of discussing, like, okay, well, you know, here are some of the options that I've got, is sort of how I survive, sort of thing, blah 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 blah, because I lived, you know, they said that they lived in I mean, they lived in Penrith before moving into the city so that they could be closer to the school for their course. But in the long run, it's not really that much further out. Like, you can still get there on the train system, you know. And if that meant that I'd have to, if I was living in Penrith and had to get up at 6 just so I was in with enough time to get to my classes, that's a sacrifice I'd make. This coming from the person making this video at 3:30. Oh, 3:33. Angel numbers. Everyone make wishes. Yeah. It's crazy that I've been seeing angel numbers so frequently lately. It's been insane. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is what they've been. I've definitely been seeing 111 a lot lately, which is the sign to start something new. Maybe this is the new start that I need. God, I hope so. I hope so. Might even do myself a little tarot reading at some point in the future, just to double check. I think I have a friend who wants to learn tarot. I might try and teach them. Anyway, so yeah, since getting home, I have looked at where those cheaper suburbs are. I found that there's one, and obviously I went I went on domain.com. They had a little list of like, here's the cheap suburbs in like, you know, west, the eastern suburbs, the northern suburbs, etc. for students. In the eastern suburbs, the 4 in total that they've got in their little list of like, these are the cheaper ones. Those 4 are all, if I took a push bike with me, I essentially wouldn't need a car, which just love that. Get myself an Opel card and have my bike, and I can basically go wherever the hell I need to. But it would also only take me like a half hour's bike ride from one of the houses that I found on realestate.com in one of those suburbs. It would only take me about a half hour bike ride in the morning to get to the school. So I'm thinking that the eastern suburbs is probably where I'm going to end up. Not only that, but eastern suburbs obviously with Sydney closer to the ocean, and we love that, as well as if my friend and I want to meet up, we can both just get on the closest train to ourselves and meet up at Central Station, and then we're in the centre of Sydney. We can go and do all of the crazy things that we want to do. So that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping for in this next year. It does, however, mean that from now until then, not only have I got to apply for my course and my scholarships and start looking for some part-time work and housing, but I've also got to try and finish up my PT course as well, because whether I finish that or not, I will have to pay it out in full regardless, so I might as well finish it. Which means that all of this financial stress I'm under at the moment isn't going to ease up for the rest of the year, because I've got to continue to pay that course, which means I've also got to continue to pay for my gym membership, and my PT sessions, which I haven't gone to. I'm going to be honest, I haven't gone to in at least a month and a half, because it's just been like that. Lost my job, and then all these bills come in, and I'm just like, well, there goes all of my savings. And that's another thing, I've got to try and put savings aside for the rest of the year. So we are hustling now, so that's also going to be sort of why videos are going to be up late for pretty much the rest of the year. I might even have a look at what I'm uploading, take it back to sort of what is it that I would like to be producing, and take it back to that, considering that I'm studying personal training. I might just make this channel more of a lifestyle thing, which means I might take like the song covers, the movie reviews, the games, I might take those off for next month, see how I go with just the lifestyle stuff and my like tarot and that sort of thing, because a lot of that stuff is just beginning of the month anyway. See if I can't spread it out to be every second day or something, because that might actually help with producing content. So next month it's probably going to end up being a little less aiming for video every day, and it will probably end up being every second day instead, because that means that every other day I'm going to be able to be focusing wholly and solely on studying. So yeah, but that's, I might be going to the school of my dreams next year, which is amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please hit a thumbs up, please hit the subscribe button if you're new, and the notification bell if you want to be notified when I upload new videos, and until next time guys, keep your head screwed on.